Hello, welcome. Hello, everybody. So today I am doing a Facebook Live on my iPhone. I'm not even trying the computer today. So seem to have had a few challenges there with, I don't know, used to work. So I've still got some new things to learn about the new Facebook interface. So I've got my computer right next to me, so it appears that I'm going to be able to see your messages. If anybody, we'll just organise that a little bit more. If anybody puts a question up on the Facebook page, I'm hoping that I'll be able to see it, or alternatively, it's going to come up on my iPhone here. So today what I wanted to talk about was some tips and tricks for you to be able to, in this time of challenge, to be able to tap into your inner soul, in your spirit, inner spirit, your GPS, your inner guide, to be able to help you to move forward. So just a little bit about myself. So my name is Janice Davies. I'm an author, speaker, trainer, script writer, and I've stepped up, which is, you know, some of the things, which is what we all have to do, step up and actually owning the brand or the name of an oracle, which means that for 40 years I have been receiving messages from the other side. I've used them for myself. I've received a biggest message in the year 2000 when I was guided and had a vision to start a self-esteem day, and the vision was a TV screen with the words rolling along the bottom. And then the 2006 again, another big message, which was to the best way to teach self-esteem is through a movie and technology. So for me, it's like I've known I've had these messages, and it took me 20 years to sort of understand them, and probably another 20 years to kind of, well, to fully embrace the fact that I can help other people with them. I've been helping friends and family, and so today I want to be able to take some of that out with you again. So if you've got a piece of pen and paper, then if you want to take some notes. So today I'm just going to be really just sharing some tips and some stories. Some of this has actually been a little bit channeled to me. I have asked for Divine to come in if there's anything that they want to do, if there's any messages that they want to be able to give to me as well. So I do believe that I'm on the Success Attitude page, which is where I went in on. So I hope I'm actually on the right page today as I'm broadcasting this. This is a learning curve since it stopped working on the computer. So, you know, as we are going through this unprecedented time in history, it's like, well, how do we keep positive? How do we, you know, when everyone's just on survival mode, and the negativity and everything is ripe, and there's lots of it on TV, and there's lots of it on out there in the media and social media as well, and what is it that you can do? And so kind of what we're looking at is that you've got control of your inside world, but which is your mind and your body and how you're feeling and thinking, but you haven't got control of the outside world. So today I want to be able to share some tips so that you can be able to take a little bit more control of that. Now, because some of this has been guided, I actually have got the notes that I'm following to be able to bring this to you. So, you know, we all know that we're all sort of stuck inside, and we're physically isolated here at the beach. We can walk down the beach and everybody just, you know, automatically does the 2 meters away from each other. So so lots of things are uncertain about how we're going to be able to come through this, but part of it is that, you know, I've been guided up again to, I suppose, to be a spark of light, and that's what I want to share with you, so you can be a spark of light in your sphere of influence. And as I'm following the notes, I'll just sort of keep flipping through them. So your sphere of influence is the people that you are meeting every day. For me, it's the people on the beach where I wave hello and call out hello and to complete strangers, and so that's what you can do as well. So it's your people at home and the people that you're coming in contact with. And sure, you can be negative and pick up on all the things that are happening, or where it came from, or how many people have passed away, and with love and light we you know, to all of them, you know, that's sad, and it's sad what's happening, but we actually can't do anything about what is already happening in the world. The only thing that we can do right now is actually to take control of how we're thinking about it, so that we can take some action about it. So it's a bit like, when you're looking at how to be able to tap in things, it's looking at the marvels that are out there. Recently we had all the super moons, and I put up photos of that on my Facebook page, and everybody loved that. And so it's, that's marvelous. The sun shines every day, and it's like a seed sprouting in the garden. What's out there that you can look at in nature that is beautiful, that, and even this morning walked past the basil plant and just, brushed the leaves of it, and then there's a beautiful smell of basil. So we're wanting to get into that feeling good essence of what there is in life that's going to sort of boost your soul, your inner spirit upwards, because within all of that, that's what we're wanting to do. It's about what we can change and what we can't change. So here in New Zealand, we've just had almost finished the 4-week lockdown. So everybody's kind of had to stay inside and no mingling in your own little bubble. We've got the whole country in lockdown. And so for us, it's like we're not allowed to move out. And you've got that in some of your other countries as well. And so, it's how we're all coping with it. Because more people are getting depressed, and there's apparently there's self-harm, there's alcoholic, the domestic violence has gone up, but what I want to share with you today is just again some things. Yes, that's happening, and we can tap into it, and it's sad, but right now we can't do anything about it. You can do something about how you're thinking and feeling yourself. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you, so that you can actually step up to be a little spark of light on the internet, because that's where there's a lot of social activity going, with your family, with your friends, and actually just look after you and the people that are totally reliant on you, which is your children that you need to feed, and the other adults maybe can do some things for themselves, because it's also about you looking after yourself. So that spark of light is what's going to pull the world through. There is lots of tragic things happening, but what can you do that's going to help you come through this feeling okay? What are you going to learn about yourself? Are you going to learn how strong you are, how resilient you are? You're going to learn that, you've gone back to planting a garden and that you really enjoy the gardening. Are you going to learn how to cook some new recipes that are going to make you healthier? So out of it, there's some positives that you can do for yourself, as well as all the negatives that are there, and you can focus on the negatives that are the challenges, or the positives that are going to pull you up. And that's kind of what we're wanting to do with the tips and tricks that I'm going to share with you about today. So one of the things I heard somebody talk about the other day was, and they sort of said God, soul, spirit, and I thought that was lovely, because our inner spirit, our inner guide, our GPS, whatever you want to call it, is actually pulling us forward. That's the inner, our soul. We've got our soul, and that's kind of, when you listen to those feelings, they are helping you to lift yourself higher, to lift yourself up into another potential of who you can become. And so when we look at what's happening around the world, it's like, what are you learning about yourself that you can do to lift yourself up? And as you put that out there. Hi, Cherie. I think Cherie might have joined us. Cherie, I'm not quite sure if I've got the name correct. And so that's what we're looking at. So for me, what I've been getting in the last few days, so some of these are the tips and tricks that I'll share with you through stories, but the things that you can look at. So one of the things I've had in the last week, last 7 days, and look out for this yourself, because this is possible. Let me just see if I've got some things happening online here on the computer. And yeah, I'm just not quite sure. There's some bits and pieces coming up, but they're not coming up on my phone. So we'll just go with that. And if you've got a question, type it in online, and hopefully I'm going to be able to see it in a wee minute. So what I wanted to share was that one of the things that's happened to me in the last week is all the messages I've been getting, and I've called them angel messages. And if you've seen, and the angel numbers, they're the double, the triple, the quadruple numbers that have been coming up. And, it's just, I'm not looking specifically, but I'll just go and say, I wonder what the time is, because I've got to do this, and it'll be like 7:44 or 8:33 or something. And so over the last 7 days, I've received 51 messages. 51 times I've had double, triple or quadruple numbers. So I've always gone online and looked for the meaning of them. Now, it's a way that the angels are getting in touch with us. I know I've got angels around me. I've seen some, I've felt them. I remember years ago, my daughter was saying, we were in bed and she was saying, how am I, and she was doing this. And she said, how am I going to know that angels are around me, Mum? And she kept on doing this. And I said, well, darling, who's tickling your nose? And she said, I don't know, but there's something tickling my nose. And it was like, that was an indication that angels around. I mean, they were playing with her, and that was, she could feel it. She said, oh, I don't know, there's something tickling my nose. So, for me, those messages have inspired me. So I just encourage you that if you start seeing double, triple numbers as well, that's something that you can do. I mean, I've got a Word document where I could turn it into an ebook, but every message in there is about positivity. It's about following your life mission, about lifting yourself up, because I'm lifting other people up, and keep on track. The divine energy and the source, and everyone's around you. They want you to do this work. And every time I get one of those, it keeps me positive. Because, like everybody, I'm having challenges, and that's life right now. So that's one of the first things that you can do if you do, like right now. Okay, so I've just looked at the clock right now, and it is 111. And let me have a look. I'll just get this from over here. So I've got written down, yeah, and it is. It's just showing 111. So I've got written down 111 as spiritual awakening, enlightenment, high energy, inspiration, and aware of thoughts and ideas, something about manifestation, self-expression, and sensitivity. And it's still showing 111 as I read that out to you. So, I mean, what a fantastic thing, spiritual awakening, enlightenment, energy, inspiration, aware of my thoughts, ideas for manifestation, self-expression, and sensitivity. And it is still showing 111, so I must have been reading that for the whole minute. So look for some of the things like that, and then just go on to Google, get your number, I just put in the number and angel numbers, and it comes up, and create a Word document. Because if it's lifting you up, then that's done its job, because it's not gone 1112. So we've had that moment of inspiration. But anything that's lifting you up to make you feel better right now is something that you need to acknowledge, because it's part of your process of moving forward and keeping into that positive realm. So look out for those and create the document, because it gives you, for me, it's a feeling of calmness, a feeling of, everything's okay, everything's going to work out okay. And that's what you need to start feeling as well, because while we, fall down into doom and gloom, we've kind of catapulted down into these lower levels of consciousness. Now, I use this kind of just about in every live that I do, because the lower level of confidence is down here is anger, fear, guilt, shame, grief, all those sorts of things. And as what we're wanting to do when you see something or you follow we want to go up here so that you're feeling better. And that's really what we're looking at with everything that we do, whether it be in personal development or getting a message from your intuition or your guides. So one of the things that one of the ladies is, she's not on here today, but she often is, has been talking about, and she uses the technical words, but I can never pronounce them, I just can't. To me, it's like I get my messages by knowing something, by knowing when to look at the clock, by feeling something, this feels really, really good, or by hearing, and most certainly, I hear voices quite a bit. But now I'm getting voices that will come to me all the time. Like while I was writing this earlier, hi Leslie, while I was writing this earlier, I was getting a message as well, and so I will share that through with you when we get to that part. So it's about how can you lift yourself up so that you are feeling good. So the way that, the intuition for me, as I say, or for anybody, it's knowing, feeling, seeing or hearing. And the word that we've heard the most is clairvoyance, so we hear about clairvoyance. And yes, I suppose I'm one of those. But then recently I was, told I was an oracle. And when I looked it up, yes, I am, because I do get the messages. So for you, it's understanding that you've got some of those qualities and traits within yourself, but you've possibly just ignored them, or life's got too busy and you haven't been able to haven't been able to listen to them and embrace the messages that are coming to you. So one of the things that you want to, if you want to tap into your inner spirit guide or GPS, whatever you want to call it, that's guiding you, is to kind of find a place that's quiet. Now, for me, it's going to the beach. I've had messages at all different sorts of times, putting out the rubbish in the morning, driving the car. But it's a time, what you've got to do is actually allow some space in your mind. If you are watching TV all the time, if you are talking to people all the time, if you have got no time, quiet time for yourself, the chances of having a message or feeling that you're receiving a message is minimal, because there's actually no space for a message to come in. Now, I've been doing it for 40 years, so they'll just kind of catapult over everything. But when you're starting this process, it's, I like the word catapult I just used. So here we are with this already. But it's about how do you create that space. So one of the ways that you can use it, and here's an example, when you're wanting to move to the higher version of yourself, when you're wanting to feel good, one of the things, say, for example, if it's dinner tonight and you decide I'm just going to buy takeaways, and you can get takeaways. We can't buy takeaways here in New Zealand yet, or they're all closed down, but next week they're going to start opening those up again. But if you're going to get takeaways and blob out and sit in front of TV, and that's fine sometimes, but if you've been doing it all the time and now it's like, okay, I'm ready to do something else, and there's a little niggle within you, a little feeling within you, a little knowing that, this, I need to change this, I need to do something better. And then suddenly you might get an idea, oh, I know what, I'll go and cook a lovely nutritious dinner tonight. And so you go and cook that. Now that little feeling sense in a message that you've got is kind of a message coming to you, to your inner soul, that's going to lift you upwards. Because if you go and cook a nutritious meal for the family and you've got everyone sitting around the nice table and you've plated it up and it looks good, all of those things there make you feel good, which means it's raised your vibration up to a higher level, rather than down here where you've had the takeaways with the food that is stodgy and you're still blobbing out in front of television. So we're wanting to move everything up here. Now, as you move that up there, one of the things that happens is that out of it, you decide, okay, well, 5 days a week, I'm going to cook those nutritious meals. You feel better. Your body feels better. You've got more energy. You've got, you're introducing some new things to your family. So there's kind of like a knock-on effect of all the things that are happening, because initially a week ago, you got a message about, or an inkling or a feeling about cooking nutritious food for your family versus blobbing out in front of television. And that's kind of what we're looking at. We're looking at what are you receiving that's pushing you up, that's pulling you up, that's taking you up to another level, so that you are experiencing life better. And that's what all of this is about, because we can't change what's happening in the world. It's tricky. It's never happened before. Our grandparents and our parents haven't had it. We've got to experience. We don't know what to do. We're kind of, tippy-toeing our way through it. But you've still got the things that you can change, and the nutritious meal is something that you can do. So what do you do with that next? So maybe you've been doing that with for a week, and you're the spark of influence. You're the spark of hope for other people. You've shared it with your family. You might go on and share it online. I tried this new recipe. Everybody liked it. And so now you are putting out into the world a little positive spark of hope for other people. You can ask for recipes and get something back. You could, so you're actually now living the life of a positive being, living the life that is uplifting other people. And that's what we're looking for. That's what my job is, to help to uplift you. Those guys uplift me from upstairs. I just got to thank you from them. My job is to uplift you, and then your job is to go out and spread that in your community. And that's how we're going to be able to make the world a better place. That's how we're going to be able to move through this quicker, versus seeing all the doom and gloom that's around there. So what I wanted to do, so that's what so when I was writing this down, because as I said, some of this has kind of been channeled to me today. When I was writing this down, I did get a message from Divine as well, and it was, I received a message. Hey, that's good, Janice. Yes, we like that example. So that was them kind of acknowledging to me that what I'm sharing with you is something they would like you to know. So, so who is divine, who is God, who is spirit, who is, for me, I went to a Presbyterian church, and, when we were cleaning it one morning, my sister and I were playing pop tunes on the organ, and then my mother decided it's time we stopped going to church. So because we were getting into mischief there, we'd race around and do all the dusting and dust all the pews and everything, and then we'd try and have 5 minutes or so playing sort of something on the organ. I think somebody heard. Hi folks, if you've wondered what happened to the Facebook Live I was doing, for some reason we lost the internet. So I'm assuming this is kind of it's broadcasting again. So so this is part 2 of the Facebook Live about how to use your intuition and your soul to be able to help you move through these times, these times that we're having now globally. And so I've already shared part of this, so I'm just going to continue on from where I'm up to, seeing if we can get so I've just hotspotted my phone to get internet again. We have had trouble here before where suddenly it's been where it has been disconnected for a reason unbeknown to us. So hotspotting the phone seems to have got it up and going again. So what I want to do is just move on from where I was at, from part 1, or the first part of this video before we went down. So my name again, just to pick up on a few things, Janice Davies, speaker, writer, trainer, oracle, and just sharing with some things. I've got the guys upstairs coming through, channeling through me as well at the same time. So I'm just going to, I've got somebody's wanted to just join the group, so I'm not quite sure. We're just going to do this and we're going to continue on. So let's have a look. So where am I up to? We're part way through this. We've talked about some ways that you can get in touch with your inner guide and why they are there. And I've talked about sort of making dinner and taking the higher ground of being able to cook a nutritious dinner, and the sort of basically what's going to be on from that is the follow-on effect of feeling healthier, feeling better, and that's raising up your level of vibration and making you feel better, even though we've got these challenging times happening right now. So one of the other things that you can do is, when you are wanting to tap into your intuition in these times, is to just stop for a moment and ask yourself a question. Now, if you're on your own, you can do this out loud. If you're with people, you can just do it in your mind. So you've got to make a decision about what you're going to do. And okay, so we could have used the meal, but we could do something else. And if you ask your mind a question, and it's like, I'm going to put my paper up here because I did say that I was channeled to write some of this, so I'm going to follow on with that and read what I've got. So if you ask your mind a question, is this the right thing for me to do right now? Now, if you stop and listen, you may hear an answer. You may hear a yes or a no. You may get a feeling that you should do something. You may just know that that's a better thing for you to do. And so all of that is an indication that you are getting a message from your intuition. And your intuition is guiding you towards becoming your higher self. Now, if you don't hear a word, that's okay. But you can practice doing that, because, the guides, God, higher beings, higher intuition, divine, whoever you want to call it, are actually trying to message you, and it's actually, you've got to learn how to listen. So one of the other things that it could be is that just as you've asked that question, there will be a song come on the radio. I often get this when I walk into my mum and dad's home. Mum and dad are no longer with us, and a song will come on. I was doing something the other night, and I've been getting all these angel numbers, and I turned on the radio and Robbie Williams' Angel song was playing. Well, I just burst into laughter. So ask yourself the question, is this the best thing? Now, the thing is, you've got to ask a question that you're going to get a yes or a no answer for. So you've got to think about, should I go out to shopping now? Or would it be a good time for me to go and visit somebody or do something. So the answer is a yes and no. And that's a way for you to start how to be able to get those messages. And, you know, one of the things they say is that lots of people get messages in the shower. Now, the reason is because often your mind's stopped, or you're just thinking about washing your hair or doing something. So there's actually a space in your thinking for divine to be able to get a message to you. And so, you know, and so that's another time. Now, they always sort of say, go walking with nature. And I've got messages when I've been walking with nature as well, because they say that's the time when the angels talk to you. So, you know, and it's just even the fact that you see the beauty of a monarch butterfly or a plant that's grown, or I've got beautiful, you know, I've just got some beautiful lavender here from my mum's garden, and it just smells exquisite. So all of these are little things that are making you feel better, and the more you do that in your life, the better your life is going to be, because you are feeling better. Yes, there's the outside world and there's crappy stuff happening, and you can tap into that and you can continue to feel not okay, or you can do all these little things that are going to uplift you right now, even though there's lots of challenges happening. So it's kind of like listening to all those little bits and pieces that happen. So what I want to move on to is like this heart, soul, mind and body connection. Now, years ago when I started, I just used to call it mind, body and soul. And so I've switched it around to put soul first, because I mean that's our highest being, is to be able to tap into what our soul journey is, and to be able to follow and learn and heal and all those sorts of things. And our heart has also got, you know, the latest research is about is our heart has got a brain as well, and so that is also giving us an indication. So I was guided, must have been last year, to put heart, soul, mind and body. And what we're wanting to do is to get all of that going down the same road. So by you smelling the lavender, it's pulled you a bit closer. By you cooking a nutritious meal, it's pulled you a little bit closer, and it's made you feel better. Now, in my Positively You Confident Successful Living program, what we do in the first module is we look at what's your soul journey. You know, I'm a number 9, so I'm a compassionate humanitarian, and I've said this when I got that message, it was like, oh my goodness, I had 2 teenage daughters, a mortgage, trying to teach, I had tenants around, and life was chaotic, and I'm supposed to be looking after the world. It's like, poof, could hardly look after me. But, you know, now 20 years later, I am. So the more you learn about yourself, so we've got that in the first module. We've got your name, working out your names, your numbers, everything about you, so that you start to grasp an idea of who you are. And then you decide, once you've got a variety of, for example, topics or things that have kept reoccurring in these 7 exercises that we do, it's up to you to then start owning them. So for me, one of mine that kept coming up was leadership. I kept getting leadership. And I had been a leader until I was bullied at high school. So then it was bringing that back up again, and whatever community organisation I seem to join, I seem to be the leader or the president. So what I'm offering next week is a free workshop. So the whole first module I'm going to do is a free workshop. So I'll be putting it up on the page. You're going to have to join me on Zoom so that we can, so that you can see the PowerPoint. But all of this, your intuition is pulling you into that so that you can learn. So intuition and soul, even in this time, is offering you an opportunity to learn, because we're all spending more time alone. We're all spending more time inside. We're all spending more time, you know, wondering what life is about, trying to stay alive, and you know, which is why we're staying inside. And so all of it is making us rethink ourselves about what life is about. What do we want out of life? And so that's why I'm offering the first module, so you can do some of that. So, you know, all the negativity and everything that's around, it is there. It's not going to go away. But what you've got control of is your own thinking. So, so that's what we're going to be sharing. But the heart, soul, mind, and body, everything that you're doing is aligning to that. So even in the challenging times, look at that. So if you're feeling not okay, if something doesn't feel okay, that is indicating to you you're off track with your inner being. So you're in a relationship and it doesn't feel okay. And this is you, this is your inner being, your soul, wanting to pull you up, move you forward and pull you up. But you're in a negative relationship over here. I've been there, done that a couple of times, learning the lessons. So what it is that not okayness is you've got to work out how to feel okay and bring yourself in alignment to who you're going to be. So is it learning new skills? Is it learning self-esteem? Is it learning how to communicate effectively? Have you learned everything that you can in that relationship, and then it's time for you to move on? Because what you're wanting to do is pulling you over here so that you're feeling good. And so for me, when I started the journey, which was my journey 30 years ago, yes, that was where I was getting pulled over here, but like I was way over here. So when I left my marriage, it pulled me here. It pulled me to feel better. It pulled me onto my track of learning who I was. And then you go up the level, and I'm still going. I'm probably up here now. But kind of that's your soul, your intuition giving you that message. So not okay means you've got to learn something. Feeling okay means that you are on track, and there's still going to be things you're learning. I'm still learning, and I've been on the journey for 30 years. We're all going to be learning until we snuff it. We are also going to be learning if we're negative and unhappy and not doing anything about it. So if we move to being positive and happy, we're still going to be learning, but we're going to be learning positive stuff, and we're going to be feeling better, and we're going to be on track, versus over here, which is just learning how to stay unhappy. So your soul, your intuition, even in these challenging times, is trying to guide you upwards. And so you've got to decide, what are you going to do about it? Now, when I talked about this earlier, down here, anger, fear, despair, when you've got a lot of that in your body and it sits in your cells and it sits in your mind, one of the ways that you can stand to release it is, when you're not feeling okay, is just sit down and write it all out. Just write and write and write pages. Just rip it up, say this no longer aligns to me, throw it in the rubbish bin, burn it, whatever you can. Now, every time you do that, you are releasing a little bit more of the negativity from your life. So just the fact that that's the one thing you take out of this, you're then moving a little bit forward to who you are. And every little bit makes a difference. And the further you down the level, the more work that you've got to kind of be learning to do. So it's about getting onto your soul journey so that you're going to be able to feel better. So, so it's all of those sorts of things. So the trick is to asking yourself, does this feel good? If I'm going to do this as it is, yes, then you're going to do it. For me, I received my vision in the year 2000. And another one in 2006 to do the movie script. So, I've been receiving it and teaching it, using it for myself for a long time. So now for you, it's about, what are you going to do? Yesterday I worked with somebody that wanted to find out a little bit about his son. He's losing, thought he's losing his business. And some questions. And so I worked with her. I asked the questions. I got the answers up top here in my mind, but I used the pendulum. So the pendulum, I'd say to her, well, I'm getting this message, and the pendulum is saying a yes. So that's another technique that you can use for your intuition and to be able to get in touch with who you are as well. So all of these are kind of like little bits and pieces. And so that's what I'm now offering out to people, is a Divine Wisdom Guidance session where we can do just one session on one topic and get the answers for you. So a couple of other bits and ways that you can do this, just to wind this up. I've talked about the free workshop. So some of the things that I haven't shared is praying. Praying is always going to, and it's just another way of you being able to release some of the not feeling okay and asking for help. I just chin-wagged to the chaps upstairs, but I have been down on my knees and prayed, because it's like, oh my God, what on earth is happening? So you can use tapping, and you can go online, because you can find a lot of tapping, how to use the tapping points, because that releases some of the anxiety in your body. If you've got goals, you can read them out now. You can look at your treasure maps and remind yourself, get a visual picture of your map. You can watch The Secret again. That's always going to be able to help you. But other things like a quote, and this one is here from Abraham and Esther Hicks, and it's like, things are always working out for me. So if you just repeat that all as a mantra, it's a positive thought instead of a negative thought, and it's making you feel better. So there's cards, there's muscle testing. I'm not very good with muscle testing, but I will pull a card at the end of this. I pulled one for myself earlier. So really it's about if you want to be able to feel good, start to learn some of the lessons that we all have to learn, it, which is how to feel better with ourselves internally in our own internal mindset, even when there's challenges going on outside. It's using some of these techniques to be able to tap into who you are. So your intuition is, you can do it by seeing, feeling, knowing, or hearing, which I do. Your soul is guiding you, so tap into what feels good, and just sort of find the things that are going to lift you up. And that's kind of what you're looking for, because you are in control of yourself. You're not in control of everyone else. So the card that I've got here right now, it's called Remain in the Light. Today I observe, I take time to think calmly and wisely, and I go forward with complete confidence, knowing I will succeed. No matter what happens today, I will remain in the light. I will maintain my faith and my equilibrium. In this way, I nurture my soul and become a strong, steady representative of the light. So that's absolutely beautiful. I'll put it up on the page. So I hope you've got some tips today. Even in this challenging time, it's an opportunity for you to grow and be strong and be in the light for yourself, your spark of hope for yourself, you know, and move forward. And look out for the Divine Wisdom coaching sessions. I'll be putting them online, and next week the free workshop that I'll be doing, which is about tapping into your soul purpose and learning about yourself, to be able to take this up another level. So yes, there's stuff happening, but there's still an opportunity for you to find a spark within yourself, and you know, remain positive, or find a positive way, knowing that you will overcome all these things. And there is a famous quote, and I've used it myself, especially in meetings that have been boring, and I've written it down. It says, "This too shall pass." So this too shall pass. There is another tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but everything is an opportunity to learn. So thank you for listening.